Hi guys.
Good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm good. I'm doing really good. I'm really glad it's nice weather after this.
Yeah,
I'm ready for it. It totally affects my mood.
totally. Totally.
Hmm. How's everything going on your end?
But I've been deep into my new website. And so that's been, yeah,
So you did so much work.
yeah,
How are you
yeah.
feeling? How are you feeling about it?
Good. It's live. I had some like back end issues and troubleshooting. And so that's always like fun to try to dive into like deep tech stuff, but it's all live. And so that's
Oh,
exciting.
I'm gonna go to it after our call today and like
Yeah.
go
And it needs more love, but it's up and it exists. And so that's exciting.
Yeah, I'm also a huge advocate for that. Just get it out there. It's not like 1 million people are going to it a day. Like just get
No.
online and keep going.
Yep, yep. I figured it was better than the old one, or like reached a point that it was better to the old one than the old one. And so it's live. And as I've been doing it, I've been continuing to like really focus on like what my brand is and like what my offerings are and starting to tighten that.
Yep.
And so really just trying to figure that out. And so I wrote some of the messaging before I had tightened it. I feel like there's always more, you know?
There's always more, and it's a work in progress, and all marketing is a work in progress. Like, because we evolve with tech, with this, with that. So I'm all about, yeah, getting it
Yep.
out. Someone following me? Okay. I am gonna start at 10:05.
Perfect.
Um, I worked so I really hope more people come because I feel like today is a really good lesson.
I'm
But
excited.
the nature of it, I'm trying to make sure, people the replays, I'm like, should I send them more than once, like
Yeah.
within the 2 weeks? Because they're so valuable.
Totally.
Um, Today we are going to talk a little bit more about mapping your client journey more intentionally, about not like basically I feel in my brain I kind of live by the modules being in order because that's how someone would do the course. But I think what's important, which I'm going to touch on when everyone's here, actually I'm just going to touch on right now, is essentially our marketing and our brand is ever evolving and constantly something that's like living and breathing for all of us. And so I think that we need to continue moving through all of that all the time. Like I encourage everyone to move through the course, obviously, but just in general, I think that something that gets overlooked is everyone's constantly focused on lead generation, Instagram, this, that, and the other thing, their outward experience. But what happens inside your house, like inside your brand? And so I'm jumping ahead today. We're going to talk about client journey, client experience, and also, I'm just gonna a lot of this is in the program, but I think having a personal coaching call about it is important because I want to talk about how to use the resources that are there. Because for you, for example, might look really different than someone else. And so um I'm going to go over that in more detail, but hold on here. Let me Okay, I'm just going to go ahead and start. So, go ahead. Were you going to say something?
Oh, no, sounds good.
I know that Christina is commuting, so she's on mute and no video, but that is a-okay.
Yeah, for sure.
Audience window. Okay, you can just see the slides, right? You know how I am about my screen sharing. I'm so weird about it.
No, it looks good to me.
It's too much. It's like my one tech thing that I can't get over. Okay, so I know I talk about workflows a lot. Again, I feel like there's so much involved in them. They can take people years and years and years to fine tune. And my goal is that like you have yours done by July. You know what I mean? So really like it's a lot of work, but now's the time because then once these are done, you can like dive head into your marketing and get those leads into your inbox, and then they actually have a journey to follow. But I want to talk about how to use the templates, how to use plug and plays, because if that's all people do, it's not going to feel as authentic for your brand. And although we have similar ideal clients, some of us, we do have different brands and different messaging. So, but I think you're going to find it really useful to have a base for all this stuff. So, for people, I know that not everyone is like tactile, but I do encourage printing out the checklist at the ends of these lessons just because there's so much to do. If you can just like plug it into your wall, like instead of it being on a screen, I think it'll just keep reminding you because these workflow creation pieces take a very long time. If I'm very honest, if you do weddings, couples, engagements, family, maternity, newborn right there, can you it's like a lot of different moving pieces. I like to think of it like, well, I'll get into that. But just as a reminder, like really printing out the checklists at the end of each workbook, even if you don't use the workbooks, because they're very similar to the actual video lessons, those are there for people who don't like listening to audio and don't like, there's multiple ways to learn this stuff, but print out the checklists. That's something I want to ingrain in everyone. So today, I want to go over the step-by-step guide on the workflows because they're all going to look different and just how to use the Canva plug and plays and kind of get started on them, I hope soon, while all of you are working through the marketing modules, the finances, what your pricing is, because at the end of the day, all of that needs to happen as well. But I don't want to forget about the client experience and the client facing stuff. So next week for next call, I'll go back and we'll talk about content creation and ideal, but like I'm going to keep weaving in these different parts because they're very, very different. You've got your outward lead generation stuff, and then your inward client experience, which is really going to like change over time, what you can charge. The more in depth and automated and beautifully laid out and not one stone unturned your workflows are, that's when you go, I'm going to raise my wedding prices by $3,000 this year. I'm going to go for 10K wedding packages. I'm going to go for $2,000 family portrait sessions that are 1 hour. That's because you know that you're guiding them through something that no one else like is doing that way, essentially. And that's why this is also important. The more I fine-tuned my workflows over my career, the higher I raised my prices. They're direct impact. Essentially, you're creating like such a great and stress-free experience for them where it's worth the extra investment. We're going to discuss how to implement these in a way that makes sense for your business. I think a lot of you will find the way I outlined it in the course really helpful. But that being said, if you have questions at the end of the call, we'll go over it. Then we're going to talk about each stage of your client journey and each stage of that and like what that looks like. And I'm going to kind of go over the actual templates that are included in the program so you can better understand how to use them. Because if you actually use them, this won't take you quite as long. And if you use the email templates, it really won't take you long at all, but I encourage you to tweak them, obviously. You don't have to though. All right, so again, all of the things I'm going to talk about today are in module 6. So all these plug and plays, all these like this, there's just 50 to 60 pages of free email templates and content, all beautiful, like everything's ready for you. It's in module 6. All right, so when you're talking about leveling up your business, leveling up and really getting again, leveling up also means raising your prices. So I just want to like remind you guys that by doing this work, we are getting you to a place where you can start to scale your business, even if it's just scaling your business through working less and making the same amount, right? Like wherever you guys are in your journey. But say, I'm going to just make up a number. Say you're grossing $75,000 a year, but you're working around the clock. Well, what if you stay grossed at $75,000 a year and you free up 20 hours a week? What do you think you're going to make the next year? You're going to make more money. You're going to have more time, so that I'm just trying to paint a picture that this is a web and it's all connected, like both with work and energetically. So, all right. So first and foremost, we're going to start with like defining your client journey and what that looks for you. Some of you might want to do this on a Google Doc. Some of you want to get Post-its out and put them on the wall. Some of you might want to do this like with your hands and write things down. I also have a Canva template for you in the back end of the program that I will, remind you of towards the end of today's call. But basically, defining your client journey. It's different for everyone, but essentially, no matter what your niche, whether they're in client or a different segment, like everyone here, not everyone here has one thing that they shoot. So a segment would be like your family maternity newborn clients or your brand inquiries or your weddings, right? But the defining your client journey all starts with them inquiring with you, an inquiry in your inbox, right? And then lead management and lead nurturing is something that's often really overlooked. A lot of photographers will write back super excited with, let's book a call or whatever, but with no nurturing, no extra content, no extra. The goal is to get them to become obsessed with you, like to dive deeper. CTAs, like blog post here, gallery here, some social proof here. If you've ever been a guest on a podcast or, things like that, you really want to like nurture them. And that is what we're going to talk about. Like, that's what I talk about a lot. So then they book, assuming they book, and you onboard them and you continue to nurture them, but you're finalizing the details and you're making all of that easy on them, but you're also like, how the hell can I make it easy on me? And so that's where all these automations and forms and all of that come into play, because if you're writing the same, like an email that someone might write over and over and over again after they book a client would be, well, what do you want to do for your engagement shoot? What are you attracted to? Do you like mountains? Do you like the river? Are you into the city? Like, what's your vibe? I mean, are you more bohemian? It's so annoying to do things over and over again. So we're going to talk about like, what are the things you can create where it feels totally personalized to the client and you aren't doing it anymore. So that will be in your CRM. It'll essentially be a candy mail with a form that's just like, what are you what are you attracted to? City, nature, blah, blah. And then you're going to be like, okay, great. I'm going to provide them with 3 ideas I have and curate this experience for them. I didn't have that in my workflows about 5 years ago. And I was like, why? Why did I go so many years of like this intensive onboarding experience that took so much of my time? And it will make sure you don't make the same mistake. So you're leading up to the shoot, all of the reminders, all the things, you're going to take it offline a few days before the shoot with whoever the client is, in just making sure you have each other's numbers and a backup weather plan, all those things, or like studio address, whatever that looks like. But a lot of like little reminders leading up to a session so that they feel grounded, they make the most of it, and they love you for it. They feel great going into it. And then essentially what happens right after the shoot, automate it again, telling them exactly when. You don't want 100 emails asking for the edits like 2 days later. And then lastly, editing and delivering the images. And then what happens after that? About 6 weeks later, you want to gather a review. If they don't do it, you want a reminder. A year later, you want to follow up. You're really like staying in their world, essentially. So you're going to identify your key workflows, and I'm just going to quickly go over what is included in Momentum Method. So what I've included in depth for everyone is lead management and lead nurturing workflow, the onboarding, like booking, contract, all of that. And reminder, all of the contract templates are here for you to use. And then the onboarding 2, which is pre-shoot planning. So once you have a retainer and your contract booked, what happens between that time and the shoot, and then their offboarding. So this is all included in the course. So I would say everyone needs to have these 4 before they start adding, and you can take these 4 and duplicate them for different types of shoots you do. And then eventually for wedding photographers, for example, you'll want to have like an album workflow for like upselling albums. You'll want to have, things like that. For brand photographers, I like to check in more than a year later. Like branding starts to become a really great niche for consistent work with them, like just doing smaller shoots after they've booked a higher ticket session. So these are included. Let's just focus on these today. If you don't have anything in your CRM, this is exactly where you would start anyway. And if you do have things in your CRM, I recommend segmenting them in these 4. And the reason is because you don't want a workflow that's so long from inquiry to booking, the shoot day, because you will constantly be tweaking it, and having them a little shorter allows you to add in certain details, which I'll get into later. All right. So the next step is choose your CRM if you don't have one. I have an affiliate code for Dubsado for 20% off, and I recommend it highly. The only other CRM I've had that I hated was HoneyBook. And CRMs like Go High Level are really robust and in depth and have like everything in one house, like website, this, that, and the other thing. I personally, I like to have my platforms be really visually aligned with my brand. And sometimes I find when it's all in one, you can't do that. So I recommend Dubsado for everyone here. Also, if any of you want to like scale your business further into another revenue stream later, like another brand, Dubsado houses multiple brands under one name. Others don't. So it really works well for my business because I've got Create Collective, Create Photography, and then Katie Monroe. So obviously I went over this last week, but remember that CRMs are more than just your emails. They're lead management, seeing who's like not booked you, really analyzing what's going on. You can tweak and fine tune your workflows better that way. All of your money stuff, invoicing, payments, all directly into Stripe. At the end of the month, you can hook up a Zapier and have them email you what you made that month. And then you can put 20% in your tax savings on like the 30th of every month and start getting in a better financial place too. Setting up your workflows, obviously, your calendar, instead of having like Calendly, Acuity, everything's under one house, your questionnaires, your proposals, your quotes, your appointment schedule, and of course, all of your automations. So, I'm going to just give you guys a quick example. Segment your clients and your client facing workflows. So I know I just said this, but these are, for example, what would be a segment like maternity and newborn. Yes, they're different, but you might bundle those packages where you have, a maternity session and then you upsell the newborn, whatever. But in the beginning of onboarding your business to a CRM, my recommendation is to start with your main niche, your main money maker, the main thing you do. A lot of wedding photographers, for example, also shoot family, also shoot XYZ. So I recommend starting with your biggest thing. And then once you have the hang of it, it'll be a lot easier to start creating the smaller ones. At the end of the call today, I'm going to go over how to use my workflow templates in the program so you can like get started today and be breezing through this stuff. So the next step, you're going to create your email templates. I'm obviously not going over all of module 6 today, or that would be silly, but I encourage you to watch the video lessons of creating all your emails before using mine so that you understand why. Someone might glance at an email that I have in there and be like, oh, that feels really long. Well, there's a reason for it, right? So like your follow-up email when you're really trying to land the lead, point being, watch it and then start creating them. I recommend creating all of this is not in the course at all, but I just recommend you guys create your email templates on one ongoing Google Doc per workflow so that it's like lead, onboarding, onboarding to offboarding. So that if you start booking, I'm just making stuff up, but if you start booking a bunch of weddings in June, you can say, okay, it's time for me to outsource this to a Dubsado person. I have everything in one place. I have Katie's workflow templates. I don't have to do any more work. I'm going to pay someone to get it all set up. I'm not saying you have to pay someone, but some of you might choose to. I'm a big advocate of outsourcing little things like that. But for your first workflow, like say your wedding one or your brand photography for female entrepreneurs one, if you're a branding, it's nice to like at least do those emails yourself, and you can have a person plug them into the CRM and teach you how to get it all going. I keep doing that. I know this is a lot, but I want it to feel a little less scary. So step 5 is creating those email templates. So say you take mine, which I encourage you guys to do because they took me so many years to cultivate a successful like thing to share with you. So why not use them and tweak them? They should include personalized content, obvi. Client name, specific details related, all of that will be within the CRM, but they should also include relevant information to your business. So obviously in module 2, 3, 4, I talked to you guys like 1 million times about evergreen content, blogging's not dead. when you're doing your workflows, you're going to see what I mean of like, oh, I know what Katie was saying. I need like a blog post to go back to my website. And just as a reminder, when they're in your going through a workflow and you have CTAs leading back to your website, all you're doing is getting them to go deeper on your brand and helping the SEO of your site. The more clicks per month, the better. So it's like a tech game. It's an annoying tech game, but it's a tech game. So here's the visual. The 40 pages of key canned emails is literally the least aesthetically pleasing template in the whole program because it's just so much copy. So I just want to show you guys how it's laid out. So you open it up right here and you have workflow 1, 2, 3, and 4, and it's going to zoom you down just so like you can get going on this immediately. Workflow 1 is that the lead onboarding. Onboarding 2, again, is from booking to shoot day and then offboarding. So for example, core workflow 1, I have a checklist just to like remind you guys what's happening because it gets really overwhelming. We're talking about 40 to 50 emails that you're all going to be writing. It's a lot of emails. So I don't want anyone to feel overwhelmed. So it's like over communication station over in here. So for example, lead nurturing email templates. Email template 1, lead inquiry email response. This is for someone's wedding. Thank you for reaching out. And then in your CRM, it'll be all implemented. So you can do a lot of the automations, like shoot them out while you're camping. If you have service, like you'll see a notification come in, you'll approve it and you'll be like, oh my God, my business is running for me. Which I try not to work at all when I'm camping, but hey, like if you know you have to keep things going, this will make it way easier. I encourage you to make this your own, but like I kind of tweaked mine to make them generic enough to where they could be a really warm, joyful brand feel. And so some of you might be more serious in your brand, like some of the branding and commercial photographers here. But if you're in the like wedding family realm, people like a photographer, obviously, that radiates like joy and excitement, without too many exclamation points, of course, because that overwhelms everybody. So this is another example I wanted to show you guys. So the onboarding workflow phase 1, that means you got them on a call. You had a sales call with them. I don't like calling it a sales call, but that's essentially what it is. This is the follow-up email template that I've been using for 10 years. And I've tweaked it over and over and over again, but I'm telling you, I've been using this for a very long time. So it's essentially a recap of everything you talked about so that as they're talking to like 5 other photographers, you're taking the time to remind them what you talked about, remind them of the call, and like kind of, it's a little bit long, but what I find is I have everything, my galleries, my sample galleries all require an email to like get in. And it's like within 5 minutes of sending this email, I'm getting notifications that they're like digging into all this. So if this email is sent out within like an hour or 2 of your call, your likelihood of booking is really high, in my opinion, unless you didn't connect with them. And in that case, I trust you all that you could feel that too. Cause like we can always tell on a call if we're a really good fit for someone. But sometimes we have to pay the bills and you want to get the job anyway. So that being said, here we go. This also includes, I'm just showing full shoots in the niche of the email. In this case, it's a wedding, full engagement sessions, even if they don't want them. It's a way to showcase more of your work. Or if you have like more variety within your engagements right now, that's something to note, like same-sex couples or like a mixed race couple or whatever. You want to appeal to a diverse audience here. And then I put a note in there. Great. And then noteworthy links. You want a CTA to reviews and client proof. You want features if you have anything in magazines or blogs. And if you don't, go to module 4 and get yourself published. Insert evergreen, and like get yourself published can also be like a blog that no one even knows about and the editor does publish you and it still will be really great. Like it will look really good, if that makes sense. It doesn't have to be like Brides magazine. You know what I mean? Insert evergreen content link here. So that's going to be something that like solves their pain points, essentially makes their life easier. Style guide for an engagement shoot. What to like, whatever. It can be 1 million things. 2 pieces of content and then a CTA to join your email list or have a freebie. My freebie for this niche is my preferred vendor list. So 90% Bay Area, 10% LA, boom, get it. And I find that it is downloaded every single time. So there's a lot of people on my list that I never even shot their wedding and they've become portrait clients later. Or if someone doesn't book you because you're too expensive, you're nurturing them from your email list, they book you later for their newborn session, blah, or they have a bad experience with whoever they hire, but you keep them in your direct line of communication. So I talk about customizing packages here and essentially insert the live link to my pricing folio here. So this will work. I call this one follow-up magic because this email template works. And so if there's one that you take away, I would take away this one. That's why I wanted to kind of review it. Like I just said, valuable evergreen content is your friend. And then when you're going through module 3 SEO, within your evergreen content, just make sure that there's like repetitive SEO within your body text. So wedding photographer in Yosemite, wedding photographer in Yosemite, wedding photo, like over and over and over again to the point where you're like, is this too much? It's probably a good thing. And you can do it in like a title and then in a paragraph, so it's not so obtrusive as well. Okie dokie. These are just some ideas I wanted to put out. So, like, are you feeling stressed out? Do something to quell their stress. They don't know what to wear. Provide a style guide. Pro tip on something I just started doing, guys. I created a style guide for Northern California on Pinterest like years ago for my family sessions. And I'm having my virtual assistant segment it into seasons of the year on Pinterest. And every year I'm taking off styles that are not things that are going out of style and adding new, and they're evergreen links. And so we have this one Pinterest board that's constantly changing. And it's kind of brilliant. And so I just thought I'd share that because it eliminates using your own PDF or designing something. And it's just like so helpful for the client. Great idea for any kind of photographer. That could be for headshots. It could be for corporate. It could be for anything. Confused about the process. Learn about our blank editorial process on location. XYZ. Proposals. Like that would be a good one. Like if but most people will be engaged when they come to you, but feeling overwhelmed by all the options, check out blank. So, and you can have that be where you gather their email to get it. So I'm just giving you guys some ideas to how people can dive deeper. And then went over this last week with Amy on the call, but basically automate where possible. And remember, people get a little scared of automation of like, I don't want to sound inauthentic. Well, I went over this last week, but like basically a lot of my automations are little to-dos that I check off and I tweak one sentence. Lately in my life, I have found that I'm doing better with even more automation and I'm fine with it. So this is all a comfort zone, but like I have really young kids and my brain is really full. And so I think that that's like a big, like as your life changes, just remember you can like level up your automations too. So if you have the time and energy and space to test them out with to-dos, I encourage doing that now to get to know your workflows. I change mine like once a year. I find like, oh, that really doesn't need to be there anymore. That feels like a little redundant but lately I've been like taking those to-dos off and making more generalized first sentences. And I don't think my clients notice. Like I think it's like my 1 week out email to my wedding client says like, hi guys, like it's super casual because that's how I would talk to them on the phone. So just keeping all that in mind as you're doing this. And I know that Catherine's going to do it. I can tell. Okay. So again, to-dos and then the payment reminders and stuff like that. I got help with this. I had like a hang up with the money piece for a long time, especially with larger contracts. I love having that automated 100% because it takes me into my like genius, like the way I communicate is more about like the project and the creativity. And so I like let my automated emails get them to sign the contract, pay, all of those things. Dubsado also just started surcharging, which is really great for creative entrepreneurs. So you can accept credit card, Zelle, you can accept anything through Dubsado, but it will go directly into your Stripe account. And surcharging makes the credit card fees lower for us. So it splits it with the client, which it really does add up. Like last year, I had $4,000 of card fees of my income. That's a lot of money, right? Like it adds up. So my other reason I love Dubsado, setting up reminders and notifications. So the reminders and notifications aren't all canned emails in my workflow templates. A reminder might be a reminder, like I have reminders in some of my long workflows. My long workflows would be weddings when they book 18 months out, right? I have reminders on there to personalize an email that goes out 3 weeks later. Because for me, I'll see it and I'll be, so you're going to create a system that works for you from this as well. Okay, one of my favorite things and shifts and ways that I took my business from like, okay, I'm talking on the phone a lot, I'm booking a lot of calls, this is great, is mitigating the back and forth with clients. So two things I want to share here that are obviously not in the program, but need to be said in person are when you're not making a lot of money, it's easy to get into a mindset that you need to bend over backwards for whatever lead comes in your pipeline because you need the job and you're a little bit hungry. And I did that for a long time. I had a lot of different client calls over the course. Like I'm envisioning when my husband and I lived in Oakland and like I would like leave at 7:30 and go have a call on our bed with a client. And they would be like worked for Apple or tech or whatever. And I was totally like taking away from my personal life to go like bend over backwards for these calls. I couldn't do it personally. I just like always felt like I wouldn't get the job. That's around 2018 when I started living by my office hours and my link to schedule. And so instead of just like constantly winging it, I started putting exactly what yoga classes I wanted to go to. And now, as like a business owner, I actually, this is probably too much, but like on my work days, I actually block off 2 hours and I'm like going to go to the grocery store and like go get my car wash. Like I actually live by it now. And I've never had once had any of my corporate clients ask me to work after 5 o'clock. So just putting it out there. I would just, and then you can have Dubsado be like Katie's out my hours are 9 to 4 within the CRM. So any triggered automations don't send at 2 a.m. They're only going to send in those work hours. And it just is a good look. Like you can just, you can appear more professional that way than having them firing off at 3 a.m. and appearing totally fake as they would, because you're probably not up at that time. Another thing is if someone says, we really can't find a time, that's when you go, of course, I'll meet with you at 7:30. Like, obviously, you're going to make exceptions. I would not start making exceptions right now. I did it for a long time and I was really burnt out. And I just like encourage people to just skip that whole zone of burnout. So utilizing scheduling tools and calendar. One other cool thing I wanted to talk about today is like you have one scheduler as a person, but you're going to have different schedulers for different things so that they book in your calendar differently. So for a wedding consult, you might want to allot 45 minutes for that because you really want to give them the time and space. They've filled out forms for you. You really want to talk to them. But if someone wants to just like hop on a quick call for a check-in, those should be 15 minutes. Like your time is valuable. So you can have a general scheduler. My general scheduler that I would send to like, I've literally sent it to my family before, like if I'm really busy, that one's 20 minutes. And so that one just auto populates as like basic, what anyone can use it. Everything else, like for Momentum Method, if any of you guys need support, I have them at 30 minutes. I have weddings at 30 minutes and I have general check-ins, family sessions, maternity, newborn at 15 minutes. So the lower investment of the session I have for lower. And then for my branding clients, I have them at 1 hour for our that's with a stylist and you know, that's a whole different niche, but I have all different ones, and that is really easy to do on Dubsado. You're going to be like, whoa. And you can have different embedded scheduler links all over your website. So say you have a newborn page, schedule a call is going to that one. Again, protecting your time and energy is what I will impart on you. And then again, you're testing and refining all this all the time. So, like, obviously I've made mistakes. Like, obviously I've had things where I was like, that doesn't feel good. That's too much, this, that, and the other thing. So when I have clients ask to get on a call with me before they've sent a lead, I had this happen yesterday. I never would do that. The whole point of the form templates I give you guys is to have the form be so detailed that they take the time to fill it out, and you can keep that call under 30 minutes. If you're asking people the stupidest question, like how many people are attending your event, all those things, you'd be on the phone with them for an hour. So what you want to be doing on your actual call with clients is pulling on their heartstrings and having an emotional connection with them, not asking them like how many kids they have for the family session, or how many guests are attending their wedding, or, oh, what's the website to your brand? Like that stuff all in the form. And that's why my forms are kind of long. Again, the best thing about Dubsado, why I recommend it, it's not, they don't have to fill out the whole thing. There's asterisks on what you need, which is name, email, and I have a couple things. But if someone's like, I don't have time for this, I'll get a lot of forms that aren't fully complete, but I still have enough information where they are in our like funnel, so to speak. So, and I'm not sure about other CRMs, but I really like that I can like still capture someone's information, even if they're not going to take the time to do the whole thing. So the testing and refined phase is where I want to support you guys more like one-on-one. Like, okay, I've got it all set up. Then I am more than happy once it's set up and you've taken the time to do this work. I'm more than happy to be onboarded as a fake client and move through with you guys, your workflows. You can speed them up. Like there's a button in Dubsado that's like force now instead of moving through. And I will like just catch things that don't feel perfect, you know. So that is another way I'm happy to like really help you guys fine tune these and catch anything now so that like by this time next year you're just totally rocking and rolling with them. And Dubsado is cheap. It's like $300 a year. It's not a big, huge investment monthly or anything like that. And I have 20% off, just as a reminder. Okay, so reminder, the email templates are there. It's going to have everything, like everything that you guys need, and you might add more canned emails to your roster, and you might not use all of mine, but like those core ones are all there. And the beauty is I did 2 sets. I did wedding and engagement because we have a lot of wedding and engagement photographers here. And then I did a more generic one for like portraits and branding that can be really easily tweaked for any niche of portrait. Okay. The workflow templates, I wanted to give you a visual on how to use these. So in the course over here, you'll see client workflow template, wedding and elopement photographers done for you. So essentially this is what it would look like in Dubsado, right? So they, here's like the cover, but your initial lead inquiry email, that would be in Dubsado with the canned email. Optional lead follow-up email, you know, for the slow to respond. I highly recommend doing all of the optionals, by the way. I just didn't want to stress anyone out, but you want to have those follow-ups or they're going to find someone else. The welcome email with a link to schedule a call. That email is critical, obviously. But you are like, that one's short and sweet. Like, I feel great about you. We're a good fit. Let's hop on a call. They've already filled out a form. Consultation confirmation, blah, 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 blah. So this is 4 pages long just for weddings. So when you're looking at it, reminder 1 through, I believe, 20 is exactly how it'll look in your CRM. And that's how you use this template. Because I couldn't, if someone uses a different CRM, I still want them to get the value of the template. Right. So I also made notes for you guys, like phone or Zoom reminder emails, 1 week out, 1 day, and 1 hour before the appointment. and then I just made notes for you guys, like action, the call took place, then what keeps going. So in the back end of the course, you guys are going to see mapping your client journey. It's a Canva template. If you don't want to do this with Post-its and you don't want to do this like in a journal, I highly recommend using it. It's like it just goes like this, and it's like lead inquiry, and you can map it out yourself. You don't have to use it, but I'm just saying, or you just print this out and write in all your notes, right? And then get it going, or make that pull this into Google Docs and type in stuff there. But I hope this is really helpful. Even if you just follow this, that you'll be ready to go. So, and I think if you sat down over coffee, you could do like one workflow in 2 hours, just to give you like a time frame between the template and the emails from me and coffee. Sit down, do it, and then come back to the tweaking and fine tuning. Share the Google Doc with me. I'm happy to review it. So before we dive into like talking and Q&A, I would love for you to maybe take a screenshot of this right now, or just like, if you can take a screenshot of it and you're really going to do it, choose 3 of these that you want to complete first and just get started. Like, it's so easy with online courses to just say, I'll do it later. I'll do it later. I'll do it later. Just choose 3 you want to do. I mean, they're all in module 6, but if you know that you want to get like your onboarding emails done, like just say, okay, I'm going to choose these 3 and do them. Okay. Did you get that screenshot? Yay, there's time. I usually go over time and I'm really, really proud. Okay, so let's just talk out your workflows. Do you have any questions?
No, a lot of it makes a lot of sense. I got Dubsado since our last call, which is great.
Great.
But I haven't gone any farther than getting it and starting to set it up and like link it to things. And so that's progress, but not all the way here. And so I was just looking at your list, and I think just like starting to get some, like I love the follow-up magic one, and just starting to get some immediate, like an immediate onboarding or immediate lead nurturing for like prospective clients will just be helpful as they then, yeah, the 4 that you talked about is like, yeah, we just need to get those in. And
You just need to get those in. And then the thing I was going to say, and I'm trying to, you're going to have like aha moments all year of like, oh, I should do this. I should put this on this page of my website, this and that. But with this process, I'm kind of like, just get it done. And I don't like to overly recommend the way I've done things because everyone is a different learner. But just because I think you are techy, like you enjoy having things on your computer, I would use a Google document, because you might hit a wall with this next month and hire Amy to finish.
yeah.
She's super affordable, and she does a discount if you've done module 6. So if like someone from Momentum Method goes, Amy, help me get this set up, I don't even know. I'm so grateful for her for doing that, because it's essentially like she knows that you've done the work.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not coming to her saying, will you write my emails for me? Yeah. So, the Google Doc is key. And what you could do, is copy and paste all my emails in there. And then
Yeah.
when you're feeling it, go into it and be like, that's not really me. And I'm going to do this, but at least you have your like skeleton that you then fill in. Right.
Yeah, it's like I go back and forth between it feels like huge and overwhelming, right? But then I also completely know what those emails, like I've written, like you say, like I've written these emails for 10 years, a million times, like I know what they say. And so I think once I get in and I'm just like writing them, I'm like, oh, I know this email,
Oh
and
my
it just needs
God,
to
I
be
used
in
to
there.
paste one from one client to the next.
Oh yeah, I like that's where I am. I go into my send, I'm like, this is very similar, copy paste, like you got your client, these are the galleries that I
That's a
suggested last time, they're the same.
That's a canned email in action, right?
Yeah.
I am down to Christina. If you can hear me, I know you're in the car. If you want to drop a question in the chat, for me to address before the end of the call today, I'm happy to. Where
I think she just put one in about going backwards with workflows.
oh my God, right. Um, oh, I didn't have this.
No worries.
Wait. Okay. I, nice. Okay. I like to change my workflows and emails so they're getting the same emails year after year. Yes, like your offboarding repeat emails are really good. Keeping in touch with people. I absolutely have that automated and don't have a to-do for me to ever look at it again. And then a year after a shoot, I hear from all these clients where they got that email and we're in touch again. If you're a wedding photographer, if you're a family photographer, these are the types of things that are like about client retention. When people are starting to try to get pregnant, when people do, like, all those things matter. Because people move and this and that, but like I have just found I'm just always like so pleased when my clients are like, we'll pay the travel fee, we want to see you again, because I moved north and people move. So, and Catherine, you moved also from being like in the city. So yes to that, Christina. And then I think I was told to set up workflows backwards in Dubsado. Am I remembering correctly? Some people online say start with your workflow from the end point and work backwards. But that is so confusing of a mindset. So I don't recommend doing that, but I did do that for all of my automations already for you. So if you follow the workflows in the course, that is how it is. So when you set up an automation, for example, just to like remind you guys, the project date is your shoot date. So a lot of the automations will be like blank 14 days before the project date. And then in lead nurturing, the automation will just be after all items complete. So after they've filled out the form, then it triggers something. After they've booked a call, then it triggers something. After you send follow-up magic, there's the lull, and then there's a manual to do. If you haven't heard from them, to email them, hey, blah, 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 blah. Do you want to hop on a call with your partner as well? All that will be in there and they're all conditional, but like it can kind of involve very little of you. And yes, Christina, there is like a mindset around getting them to function from thinking backwards, but I think it's way more effective for your client experience and just like leading people through a journey that will like really, really bring more people into your business. Basically, like, oh my God, our experience was so amazing. And those word of referrals are gold, as we all know. I wanted to remind you, Christina, too, I hope you're still here, it's just like, if you have them and you still feel stuck in a price point and in a place that you are not able to break out of, like, these are the ways that you can do that. And so since Christina and both Catherine, you guys have been shooting for so many years, like a long, long, long time, these are the places I want you guys to be focusing, plus the pricing folio. So how you present your pricing to clients, everything in module 5, because it's a psychological game at that point. It is more of a, you're telling them that you're like, it's there's such a finesse to it, right? Once they're that deep in your world. And then when it comes to like your actual pricing folio, and you guys have done that, I want to remind you guys to contact me personally. Then let's like look at numbers, because once you have added all of this into your business, the way I think about it that really supports me and like my own money mindset is like, think about your energy as checks and balances. So you just put like what you spend money on a program, first of all. Second of all, like hours on end into revamping your business. Christina's been a photographer for 20 years. It's a lot of years. And then you're going to do all this revamp. So you need to pay yourself back. But the energy of it is like, no, I deserve this. I put the time in and here we are. And I also think it's critical to take into account demographics. Obviously, I talked about this with Christina. She's going to have different wedding prices than you. Like, it's just a cost of living thing. But I'm also like, if you're anyone by a big city, we're looking at like, and my other thing I'm going to teach you guys is we're gonna talk a lot about over the next like couple months about how to educate your clients on your calls so that like they see your value beyond a service provider. It's kind of like I could go into such a whole other call on this, but it's like how you make them feel, how the service makes them feel. Like I was talking to my husband yesterday about like finances and our budget and this and that, and how like when we got this house, like it's just basically the point is a house cleaner to me is so much more than a clean house because it relieves massive amounts of anxiety for me to focus on my own self-care, this course, you guys, my business, where it's like I have an emotional connection to the investment where I'm like, no, you have to come back. And it's not just about the actual thing. And so we want our photography to be the same. We want to be desirable and make them feel like this is an experience, you know? And if it's done right, you're going to have clients that are still coming back 10 years from now, you know, and it stops. And if they're the right client for your company, which we can talk, which we're also going to talk about, the pricing is going to stop mattering like as much. Like for some people, they have a budget, sure, but like you're going to get to a place where things are flowing and feeling really good. Um,
Yeah, I think my piece right now is like I'm there with a lot of my clients. I have a lot of like wonderful return clients and people, like most of my business is referrals. And like referrals are like, I'm not talking to anybody else, just like tell me what it costs, like let's book it. And it's fantastic. But then it's like how if you aren't a past client and you don't personally know a past client, how can I like put that same level of like, you know that you're going to get this level into the world. And so that's like the new website, like all of this of like, you don't know me, you just found my name online. How can you like get there? So that's like what my goal is with all of this. And so hopefully all these emails and this is all like exactly what we're
okay, so
doing.
that's like
So
the best goal ever. That's exactly what I did in my business. I used to be all referrals in like 2014, and I'm from Sonoma County. So it was like, I didn't realize it 10 years ago, but like it is such a destination for our work where oh my God, my leg's asleep. Where I was just like referral, referral. And then when I had the aha moment, I was like, oh no, but if I start, it's exactly what you should be doing. And so that's where this all comes in, like where you're making people that don't know you feel at home. Oh my God, we landed on her website, her brand. Oh my, and that's when you're going to start. It's like so exciting for me because it's going to start happening to you where it's going to like start making sense and being a cycle. And um, I think that you're doing, I just also, Christina's still here. You both are doing so great right now because you're both focusing on your website. And that is like what I'm trying to drill into everybody right now is like, I just wish it was more clear to everyone of like what's going on with social media. Like no one sees anything. It's just so not where our energy should be going. And we absolutely need a presence. I do agree. But like now there's a subscription to be Meta verified. And it's just like all this ongoing thing where you don't even like have any control over your audience anymore. Right. So website and then email list, obviously. So I would say, do you have a lead magnet for your email list
I have not built one yet.
or ideas?
Ideas, yes, I have ideas. Were about some different like favorite locations to elope in Northern California, with some pictures and things like that. Was most, I think, where I was leading.
I love that because people that are eloping really don't know.
Mm-mm.
And then
No,
eventually you could do like the elopement guide and
yeah.
it's a digital product that you sell,
Oh yeah, that'd be great.
something like that later. But okay, you have a lot to do and a lot going on, but have you do you have a guide template?
Uh, is there one in the course that I haven't found yet? Is that what we're talking, like a,
I just have so many that if you need one, I'm happy to share it in the community and everyone can use it.
yeah, that'd be great. No, I don't have
Like
one.
a generic, I'm trying to, let me see. Well, let me make sure before um,
And then I had one question. My email list lives in Squarespace or Dubsado?
Your email list is in Squarespace and you'll
Okay.
need to set up, all of your stuff, like your marketing and okay, I'm going to share this with you. It says it's a style guide, but it can be any kind of guide. It's
Yeah.
a very generic template where you're going to plug in your branding. I will send this to the hold on. You're
Perfect.
gonna love it. It's so pretty. Okay, I'll send this share template link. Okay, great. Um, here, I'll put it in the chat right now too. You have Canva Pro, right? This is just going to be a perfect starting point for you. So even if you just like put your title of that in your Canva right now, you have housed it. That's like the other piece too, because I think what you're doing right now is you're doing a massive, you're doing like a huge overhaul and it can get really overwhelming. So any templates, anything design oriented, if you need a template, you can email me. I have a lot of them. Anything else that I can answer? I would love to, anything.
No, I've just been so deep in website, and so it's good to think about other pieces, but that's getting my website live has been the big focus, like the last
As
2
it should
weeks.
be. And now you have all of your like modern new edited work, like it's just going to be a trickle down effect now because it's not as overwhelming. You've got your portfolio, you can start integrating that into your social strategy, into your evergreen content, all of it's sort of there. But I'll go to your website now that it's live and check it out.
Yeah, if you have thoughts on it, I feel like I don't know,
Well, it's a work in
it's
progress.
a work in progress.
Um, Catherine. Okay. Is there anything else that are you shooting? How's everything going on that?
Yeah, I was in Big Sur yesterday for an elopement. It was great. So I was like got home late, have a ton of stuff. And I have one editor and I'm working on getting another one, which is also I want to reach out to one of the people that you recommended. That's also on my list to get. I've but still been doing some editing and it's on my list to get no editing on my plate.
I would reach
And
out
then
to Seth, the owner of Editing House. It's in Colorado. He's really good and he was a wedding photographer and I really trust him. And
great.
ultimately, his business is really small compared to some of the big like editing houses. And then you just don't have like a consistent person.
Yeah.
He has taken the time to really get to know my preset and I don't even review them anymore. So when I get an edit back from him, I make it all red in Lightroom, like which is like client ready. And
Mhm.
I start exporting and like doing laundry, export, like do something else. It's the best feeling. So I'd recommend reaching out to him, tell him I sent you.
I
He,
will do
and
that
he's
today.
so nice, like such a pleasant work relationship. So
It's fantastic. Yeah, that's been like in the back of my head, and I just need to do it. I'll send that email today. And
yeah, just send it. Just be like all the
we're
things.
doing this. I know I've been like, is
Okay.
this the right shoot? Like, should I do an old shoot? What should I? And then I've been like, no, I just need to start it.
Okay, I love it. All right. Well, you're doing great. I'll be in touch after I dive into your website more.
Thanks so much, Katie. All right, I'll
Okay.
talk to you later.
Bye. Bye, Zach. Bye, Catherine. Okay, I'm ending our call.